Hello, and welcome back to Unsolved Void. I'm David Paulides, and tonight we're examining a truly baffling case that sits at the intersection of extreme geography and unexplained phenomena. It involves a remote, protected location, a deep underwater abyss, and the absolute vanishing act of two young men that defies every conventional explanation. We are going to the darkest, driest part of the United States, the unforgiving landscape of Death Valley, California. The location is known simply as Devil's Hole. Just the name itself, Devil's Hole, carries a palpable dark weight. Doesn't it? It sparks a particular kind of curiosity, a profound, sinister intrigue. All over the world, places named after malevolence are often given to the most remote and, ironically, beautiful spots on Earth. Many of these places, particularly those with a sinister geological feature, are whispered to be cursed, enchanted, or simply wrong. This isn't just simple folklore. These locales are frequently tied to real tragedies, strange disappearances, and incidents that simply don't make sense. Today, we focus on a deeply disturbing event where a profound mystery struck: the disappearance of two young divers in 1965. This deep fissure resides within the aptly named Death Valley National Park. This desolate stretch of the Mojave Desert is the driest and hottest spot in the country, featuring the lowest dry land in the Western Hemisphere. It is a genuine geological showcase of extremes and a silent, empty world. In the summer of 1965, the country was experiencing upheaval, but this desert was profoundly quiet. On June 20th, 4 high school friends from Las Vegas decided to make a 90-mile journey into the unknown. Their goal was an unauthorized, incredibly reckless joy dive into this deep geothermal abyss. What possessed them to attempt this? The boys were reportedly inspired by recent articles detailing a serious speleological research expedition into the region's massive underground lake system. They wanted to penetrate the unknown and prove they could master this terrifying place. They had no idea the price they would pay for that ambition. Arriving at the site, they hiked up a hot, barren hillside toward a large ranching operation. A faint trail led them to the entrance of a limestone chasm. This pit may have opened 60,000 years ago, perhaps when a massive seismic event caused the cavern's roof to collapse. The 4 boys approached. They ignored the flimsy fence, and they definitely ignored the stark warning signs. Paul, David, and Bill, thinking themselves immune, scrambled under the enclosure and began their descent. They went 30 feet down to a small ledge, the jumping off point. Had they looked closely at the pool they were about to violate, they might have noticed the tiny, unique blue-gray fish swimming in the water. This pool is the exclusive habitat of the endangered Devil's Hole pupfish. They suited up with their tanks and lights. Paul Giancontre, David Rose, and Bill Alter plunged into the murky, body temperature water. Their intrusion immediately disturbed the delicate biological environment, and in doing so, they might have activated something far older and far more dangerous. Only Jack Alter remained on the ledge, the designated watchman, and it didn't take long for the trouble to arrive. Sometime after midnight, Paul failed to resurface. The silence from the water was absolute and immediate. David and Bill quickly dove back in, desperately trying to locate their friend in the total darkness of the abyss. Bill Alter frantically followed David Rose down to approximately 170 feet. It was there he watched as David, too, suddenly and utterly vanished. He disappeared, swallowed by the absolute, impenetrable darkness below. The bodies of the 2 brothers-in-law were never found. They entered a confined space, and yet they were gone. The ensuing search was extensive, led by the same professional diver whose work had inspired the boys. They searched for 36 straight hours. Ultimately, the search was called off, leaving behind a chilling void. The only traces left of the missing men were a single mask, a snorkel, and a flashlight tied to a ledge 100 feet down. The flashlight seemed to signal a futile, invisible pathway out of the otherworldly cave system. Jim Houts, the professional diver, gave a quote that chills me to the bone. He said the tunnel opens into something else. He added, "We don't know what the next room is. It's like infinity." Infinity. A strange word to use for a geological formation. The question remains, what happened at 170 feet? They didn't just drown, they were removed. The local Timbisha Shoshone tribes have always maintained that this place is guarded. Their legends speak of water babies who would surface and pull swimmers under. They also warned of So-8, a malevolent giant dwelling in the springs who would snatch and devour victims. The darkness around Devil's Hole doesn't stop with ancient legends. The infamous cult leader Charles Manson reportedly became obsessed with the site. He was convinced that the pool was an underwater portal to the underworld, a dimensional gateway. Manson believed that through this portal, he and his followers could safely wait out the apocalypse. He was so convinced he spent time trying to figure out how to drain the hole. He was operating on a dark truth about the place. In the hundreds of missing persons cases my team and I have tracked, we often encounter phenomena that defy physical laws. We must consider the possibility that these young men didn't just drown. They were removed. The only way to explain a complete vanishing act in a confined, vertical space is if the victims cease to occupy this dimension of reality. My hypothesis for Devil's Hole is the presence of a localized dimensional rift. The deep geological stress and immense water pressure have created a weak spot in the fabric of space-time. When Paul and David crossed that 170-foot threshold, they crossed an invisible boundary. That boundary is likely activated by disturbance, the bubble streams, the lights, the sudden human intrusion. The tunnel opens into something else, and that something else is another reality. Paul and David did not get swept away. They were pulled into a different spatial dimension, a void, a pocket of non-reality. The flashlight found tied below, that was a terrifying final indicator. It was a residual object from our world that marked the entrance to the void. Their case serves as a dark testament to the unknown forces at play in the remote, deep places of our world. Never ignore the warnings. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think the pupfish are the key, or was it a rift in reality? For Unsolved Void, I'm David Paulides. We'll talk again further down the trail.